Donald Trump's poll numbers are even worse than they look. Donald Trump has had an awful 10 days. Prior to the Republican nominee stepped into each trap Hillary Clinton laid over the primary civil arguments stage, he was making blue America sweat. Surveys demonstrated him nipping at Clinton's heels in Colorado and Pennsylvania, states once thought to be blocks in her Electoral College firewall. What's more, the strong quality of Gary Johnson and Jill Stein appeared as though it may tackle the issue of Trump's slow roof. All things considered, our first President Clinton won with just 43% of the vote. And after that the GOP leading figure gloated about staying away from expenses and leading to birther development before 84 million individuals, prescribed the sex tape of a lady he had mentally mishandled to his Twitter supporters at 5 in the morning, blamed Hillary Clinton for being an adulteress, and had his ability for losing epic aggregates of cash sprinkled over the front page of the New York Times. In the interim, Gary Johnson uncovered the profundities of his own obliviousness so altogether, he's currently attempting to rebrand the powerlessness to recognize outside countries as a temperance. This week, the Libertarians' own particular running mate everything except supported Hillary Clinton. Presently Canada's Department of Immigration is most likely handling less applications. Trump has fallen behind Clinton in surveying midpoints of Ohio, North Carolina, Florida, and Nevada. Regardless of the fact that the head honcho digs out from a deficit to win every one of the 4 of those states, he would at present need to flip no less than one state where Clinton right now leads by a normal of more than 5 focuses to win the Oval Office. Also, Trump's prospects are likely much more desperate than such surveying midpoints recommend. The Republican chosen one is depending completely on his gathering for voter turnout, an unsafe technique for a hopeful whose most grounded bolster originates from non-school instructed white voters, a demographic that votes far less dependably than the rural white ladies whom Trump has been alienating. What's more, while the Republican National Committee has a broad voter record, and ought to have the capacity to turn out the gathering's base, they aren't much use for turning out the autonomous or once-in-the-past Democratic voters who make up a partition of Trump's surveying support. Clinton, by difference, has the best get-out-the-vote operation George Soros can purchase. What's more, the Democratic chosen one will have the capacity to benefit from that preferred standpoint for a great deal over one day. A few swing states have protracted early voting periods. Also, as indicated by Politico, Trump is depending altogether on revives to prepare his base. Trump's indiscriminate crusade, overlooking standard practice, depends to a great extent on mining his disorderly battleground state revitalizes to store up his initial vote aggregates. Clinton's exertion is more deliberate and customary, relying on a broad field association to drive its propel voting procedure. What's more, now Mother Nature, and/or the man-rolled-out atmosphere improvement the GOP chosen one denies, is scheming against Trump. Pretty much as Romney's endeavors to make up for lost time to Obama were hindered by Hurricane Sandy's control of the news cycle, so Hurricane Matthew debilitates to cost Trump free media when his crusade urgently needs it. Past this, Trump's as-of-now feeble survey numbers might be weaker than they look. Per the New York Times, Mr. Trump has as of now slipped discernibly open his surveys, trailing broadly this week in Pennsylvania and by littler edges in Florida and North Carolina, 3 states he can't stand to lose. Be that as it may, private surveying by both sides demonstrates a considerably more abrupt drop, particularly among free voters, direct Republicans and ladies, as indicated by 12 strategists from both sides who talked on the state of obscurity in light of the fact that the information was classified. Liesl Hickey, a Republican strategist required in a few House races in swing states, said she was daunted by a sudden mass migration of free voters in more assorted parts of the nation. They are truly beginning to pull far from Trump, said Ms. Hickey, depicting his taking off disagreeability with independents as entering unknown domain. The paper additionally reports that numerous Republican congressional applicants will take another poor civil argument execution this Sunday as a sign to escape straightforwardly from their candidate. A critical drop in the surveys could make a negative input circle for Trump, as down poll applicants separate themselves from his battle and the RNC begins moving assets far from the highest point of the ticket. As the Washington Post's Philip Bump has noticed, Trump's dependence on his gathering for turnout turns out to be ever more risky as his surveying quality lessens. On the off chance that the Republican National Committee finds that he is dragging down its contender for the Senate and the House, that could move where and how it concentrates on turning individuals out to the surveys. Ought to the RNC put an overwhelming accentuation in Georgia, where its Senate seat is generally sheltered, just to support Trump's odds? On the off chance that an applicant in a focused Senate seat is battling with common laborers white men for reasons unknown, why might the RNC need to turn them out? To escape the opening he's burrowed himself, Trump will require a stellar execution at Sunday's town corridor face-off regarding a precarious arrangement that hindrances political fledglings. At that point he'll have to appeal to God for some repulsive disaster to come to pass for the Clinton battle, say, a WikiLeaks record dump that demonstrates the Democratic chosen one taking part in express defilement, or else actually establishing the Islamic State. There is little motivation to think either about these things will happen.